Welcome to Josh's Cemetery Chats. What's up, Bearheart Nation? How's it going? So today, I want to talk a little bit about something that's been irking me lately as I've been doing research for the Legends and Tales stuff over on my main channel. But before we get into that, I do want to mention real quick, merch. So I've got, this is one of the new merch things that was actually suggested by Jenny, I think, over in the Discord. Made a suggestion off of a comment that I made about being proudly pro-ghost, and I thought it was a great idea, so I went ahead and put together some really cool merch. I've got this, and I've got the stuff over there for the Cryptid series on the merch shop, so go check that out if that's something that you're interested in. If you have any ideas for merch, leave those in the comments down below, or head over to the Discord and let me know on Discord. There's a whole channel over there dedicated to ideas for merch, so if you have an idea, something you think would be really cool, head over there and check it out and let me know. Another quick note, if you're interested in supporting or helping support the channel, helping to support the stuff that I do here or on the main channel with the Legends and Tales stuff, you can go over and check out the Patreon. I've got a bunch of different tiers over there. Some pretty cool perks and rewards and stuff like that for signing up. So go check that out if that's something you're interested in. It's things like early access, behind the scenes. I've been doing a lot of behind the scenes stuff lately. Some of it related to the Legends and Tales kind of stuff too. So go check that out if it's something you're interested in, and you'll get your name in the video. So awesome perks right there. Well, all that out of the way, let's go ahead and just jump into this one now. So the thing that's been bugging me a lot lately when I've been doing research for the Legends and Tales videos, I'll go out and I'll start, trying to look up whether it's newspaper articles or versions of stories, that kind of stuff. One in particular that I've been looking at, it's a story about a headless motorcyclist in northern Ohio. So essentially how the story went was, this guy, he'd come back from World War I and had bought a new motorcycle and went to see the girl that he was supposed to marry, and come to find out that she had met somebody else while he was away, and then he jumped on his motorcycle and he rides off away from her farmhouse and winds up wrecking into a ditch and losing his head. And the head and the, supposedly, depending on the version you're reading, the headlights of the motorcycle, neither were ever found. And so you could go out to the spot and you could sit and you could honk your horn 3 times and flash your lights 3 times, and this ghost light would appear basically from where this farmhouse was supposed to be, go down the road and then disappear. The problem with this, and where it really got to me when I was doing the research, was the spot that you're told to go to essentially is sitting in front of, there's these 4 or 5 houses in this one area, and the rest of this is all farm field. So you're essentially sitting in front of the only houses for a good distance around, honking your horn in the middle of the night. One of the original stories that I found in the newspaper actually says if you see the headlight coming from the side of you, then the biker's mad, the motorcyclist is mad, and he's coming for you. And I thought that was kind of funny the way it was phrased, because essentially the writer of the article was interviewing this person who was telling the story, relaying it, and they were the ones saying that. And it made me think, like, okay, there's a house out there, you're telling people park in front of this house in the middle of the night, honk your horn and flash your lights and wait a half an hour and see what happens. So we get to kind of the crux of the problem that I have, and the issue that drives me absolutely crazy when I'm doing this research, and that's a lot of these stories that are reported and have been passed down, even the ones that are older that have been passed down through the decades, can wind up having a lot of false or bad information in them, and it makes it really hard to weed out the stories that are not true, as opposed to the stories where there might be a grain of truth to them. For instance, the headless motorcyclist, there's never a name given. There's no way to tell who this person was, and it sounds almost like a story that was just completely made up for a Halloween thing in a newspaper or something like that, which that happens a lot, even before the internet. Now, once the internet came along, it was a lot easier. Anybody could just get on a message board and they could write up their story, and they could completely make it up, and maybe use some details from the local area, maybe use a name they found on a headstone in a cemetery or something like that. They could completely make up a story, spread it around on a message board, and it would go viral, and people would just start kind of sharing it, and usually those would tend to start locally and kind of expand from there as the internet grew. Before the internet, though, these kind of things still happened when you had newspapers specifically, but even television networks, that TV, local news, that kind of thing, when they're looking for filler stories, especially around Halloween, from a lot of the ones that I've seen in my research, they'll do the whole thing that drives me nuts with, like, the top 5 channels and stuff that do the ghost countdown videos, where they end with, what do you think? Is this really a ghost, or is something else going on? And they would do something kind of similar in the newspapers, where they would get through the multiple stories that they would be sharing for Halloween, and then they'd say, we don't know if any of these are true or not, but maybe you can go check them out. in some instances, there's nothing wrong with that. You know, you want to get scared, you want to go out to a creepy place, and if you're just going out there to kind of get spooked out and get that creepy feeling, because we all love to be scared, I don't see anything inherently wrong with that. But a lot of these places get destroyed over time. They get to be really well known, and so they wind up being places that you can't go anymore, and now you have to go find other places. Like I mentioned in a previous video talking about the Mud House Mansion down in South Central Ohio that got torn down because people just wouldn't stop going there and breaking into it. To me, that's really irksome and that's really annoying because, one, it means that we're losing access to some of these sites that might have some historical significance. Or in some cases, I've seen a lot of places that they get revamped and they'll sell tours, ghost tours, or, you know, a supposedly haunted building will get made into a bed and breakfast or a motel or something like that where people can come stay the night in the haunted room. And while I don't have a problem with people making money, when you're making money off of something like a supposed ghost story and you're taking advantage of people's beliefs like that, I think that's just wrong. To top it all off, it makes it a pain when I'm going to research things. The two biggest problems that I have when researching are typically either not finding enough information or finding way too much stuff because somebody has hijacked a term for a band or for a movie. You know, if you look up Halloween, you get a whole bunch of results about the movie Halloween, not the holiday. And that's the same for a lot of other terms that have been hijacked over the years that get kind of difficult to search for. So got that aspect of it. And then the not enough information. And I love researching. I love digging in and really finding, especially when I get into some of the stories and the tales and that kind of stuff. But sometimes I get frustrated to the point of I'm digging in, I really want to find something on a story like the Headless motorcyclist, and there's just nothing. Let's say the ghosts are real. Just for a second, we'll say that ghosts are real and they're out there and we can find them. We have the technology, we have the equipment, and we can find them. Well, all of these fake ghost stories are muddying the water, because if you're a researcher, if you're a legit scientific researcher and you're trying to figure out whether or not ghosts are real, and you're doing that by looking at what are the local legends and let me go out and let me investigate this area that's supposedly haunted, you're kind of doing it backwards. You're kind of put in a rough spot, because that spot that you're going out and investigating might not even be haunted. It might not even have had anything happen there to cause it to be haunted. You know, maybe there's a really ingrained ghost story, a legend of something that happened. So you go out to a location and you do research, and the research you find looks like it might be there, but like there's nothing definitive, and you go to the location, you don't know what you're getting. And that's where I think the biggest problem for me is, because like all of the fake ghost videos and the fake ghost pictures and the people making up stories, it all kind of comes into a thing that makes it almost impossible to actually determine the reality of the existence of ghosts. And if you're one of those people that you believe that ghosts exist and you want scientifically to have it proven to validate your stance, then you should want just as much as me to get these things out of there, to get rid of all of the noise and the stories that aren't true. And in that same vein, doing your own research before you start telling people and spreading these stories. Telling somebody, "Ooh, I know a haunted place that I heard about," that doesn't do anything positive for the ghost hunting community when you're trying to figure out whether or not ghosts exist. What that does is it muddies the water. Now, if you can substantiate, well, I know that this person died for sure on this spot, and this is how they died, and this is what happened, then you got something to go look at. So all of that rant, just to say, do research. Don't take things at face value. Go out there and learn. You know, maybe you think that you don't have the time, but if you have the time to read about stories, you know, to read stories that people are sharing, then you have a little bit of time to do a little bit of due diligence. And if you can't do that due diligence, don't spread the stories, because all it's doing is making it more difficult. Make sure before you share a story that you have the facts, that you have the evidence. Who knows, maybe one day something will come to light and we'll be able to prove something. Bearheart Nation is proudly pro-ghost. I would love to find to get some actual proof of the afterlife. I mentioned before the Bloody Bridge video that I did, where I saw some ghost hunters that put videos on YouTube where they were out at the Bloody Bridge searching for ghosts and getting responses on their EMF meters and stuff, and nothing ever happened at that location. And that's what I'm talking about, is now those people take that and they say, well, look, this is evidence of ghosts because this tragedy happened here, but nothing ever actually happened there, so you don't have the proof that you think you have. The Legends and Tales videos are my way of spreading that information out there. And, you know, the stuff that I share on there, I've validated. I have documents to back up. If I don't, I'll say it, you know. I'll say, I couldn't find any evidence of this, but this is what's reported. And in the events where I can't find evidence, I don't take it as fact. So I think that's about going to do it for this cemetery chat. I wasn't sure 100% what the topic was going to be until yesterday, when I was anxiously trying to get some research done for the next Legends and Tales video, and a couple more that I've got down the pipe, and I was just hitting brick wall after brick wall after brick wall with them. So like I said at the beginning, go check out the merch shop. We got the new merch going on in there. Go check out the Patreon if that's something, you know, it's a great way to help support the channel. This is something that there's more that I want to do, and there's an expansion on things that I want to do down the road, and I need your help to do that. And watching the videos, liking, commenting, all of that stuff helps out. And especially when you go sign for the Patreon or buy some merch, that kind of stuff really helps me out to be able to continue providing this stuff and to continue expanding on especially the Legend and Tales stuff, because that's a huge deal. That's the channel that I really love. You know, those videos are a lot of fun to make, and hopefully they're a lot of fun to watch. So yeah, with all that being said, I want to thank you all for watching. I'm going to go ahead and end the video here. Everybody have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.